They told you the job would be straightforward: one title, one role, one salary. But the second you settled in, the mask slipped. Suddenly, you're not just a marketing manager, you're a graphic designer, a copywriter, a social media strategist, and maybe even customer service on Thursdays. You're not just an IT technician, you're the cybersecurity lead, the help desk, the backup for the backup. And no, there's no extra pay, no new title, just a vague, "we're all wearing multiple hats right now," said by the same people who haven't worn a hat since 2003. This isn't multitasking, this is exploitation. We live in a corporate culture where job descriptions are fiction and overwork is sold as opportunity, where doing the work of 3 people is seen as ambition instead of what it really is: unpaid labor. It's scope creep disguised as team spirit. It's burnout branded as being a go-getter. It's a broken system that rewards silence and punishes boundaries. You're hired to do one job, but then someone quits and their workload lands on your desk. Another person goes on leave. Guess who's stepping up? The company goes through a hiring freeze, and leadership smiles and says, "Let's get creative with our resources." That's code for do more with less. Again, always. At first you think, okay, I can handle this, I'm capable, I'm a team player, but weeks go by, then months, and the extra tasks become permanent. No one hires a replacement. No one adjusts expectations. No one even acknowledges the load you're carrying. It becomes the new normal. This is how burnout becomes baked into the system. This is how toxic cultures survive. Not through shouting or chaos, but through quiet expectations and unspoken obligations. You get crushed not all at once, but in pieces, a little more each day. And the irony? The better you are at handling the chaos, the more chaos they give you. The more dependable you are, the more they lean on you, until suddenly your job is unrecognizable. You've become the fix-it person, the utility player, the silent hero, and while they praise your flexibility in meetings, they don't back it up with promotions or pay, just more work. Somehow, it's your competence that punishes you. Your ability becomes your trap. You raise it to your manager. They nod sympathetically. "We're aware. You're doing great." You ask about backfilling the role. "It's on our radar." You inquire about a raise. "We'll revisit during the next review cycle." And round you go. It's not just you. It's happening everywhere. According to a 2023 survey by Monster, 66% of American workers said they were doing more work than their job descriptions required. Over half reported feeling burned out as a result, and yet companies still act surprised when morale tanks or turnover spikes. This is the hustle trap. The idea that saying yes is noble, that boundaries are selfish, that exhaustion is a badge of honor. But let's be clear, you didn't agree to 3 jobs. You agreed to 1. You didn't sign up for permanent crisis mode. You didn't sign a contract that said until completely depleted. So why are you still expected to carry it all? Because the system survives on guilt, on fear, on the belief that saying no makes you replaceable, that pushing back makes you difficult, that if you just hang on a little longer, things will get better. But they rarely do, because as long as you keep absorbing the damage, they have no reason to fix it. Work creep doesn't stop on its own. It grows until it breaks you. And what happens when you finally do break? When the burnout hits? When your productivity tanks or your health suffers? Suddenly, you're no longer the MVP. You're underperforming, disengaged, a liability. The same managers who dumped 3 roles on your lap will act confused. "You seemed fine," they'll say. "We didn't know you were struggling." Because in this system, suffering quietly is expected, and asking for help is seen as weakness. The solution isn't resilience, it's resistance. We have to stop normalizing this. We have to stop rewarding it. We need managers who advocate for headcount. We need HR teams who actually intervene. We need leaders who understand that stretching people to their limits isn't strategy, it's sabotage. And most of all, we need to stop gaslighting ourselves. Stop pretending we're fine. Stop calling exploitation growth. Stop applauding survival. You were hired to do one job. You deserve to do one job, to have clear expectations, to be compensated fairly, to have work that fits in a work week. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack ambition, but because you're human. You're not a stopgap. You're not a Swiss Army knife. You're not a budget solution. You're a person. And that should be enough, because here's what no one tells you. The longer you allow the imbalance, the more normalized it becomes. Not just for you, but for everyone around you. Your peers begin to think this is just the way things are done. New hires are onboarded into this chaos. Future job descriptions are written based on your overextension, and suddenly what was once temporary becomes institutional. And when the company finally does hire someone new, that person is expected to carry the same overloaded torch you've been juggling for months. There is no reset, no recalibration, just the ongoing expectation that this is how it's done. This rot spreads quickly. It leads to unmanageable expectations and disillusionment across the board. Team morale erodes. People grow resentful, competitive, and distrustful. Why bother doing well if your reward is simply more work? In tech, the move fast mindset justifies chaos. In hospitality, staff shortages become a given. In education, teachers serve as counselors, social workers, and curriculum designers, all for one paycheck. The hustle creep is everywhere. And while executives sit in Zoom calls discussing quarterly goals and company vision, workers are in the trenches duct taping a crumbling system together. According to a 2024 Gallup poll, 52% of employees are disengaged at work, and 1 in 5 are actively miserable. 1 in 5! That's not a talent problem, that's a generational issue. That's systemic rot. And it's a direct consequence of a work culture that confuses endurance with value and sees burnout as proof of commitment. Even exit interviews don't fix this. Why? Because the problem isn't individual. It's cultural. It's baked into policies, hiring practices, promotion pathways, and how companies measure success. Metrics reward volume, not sustainability. Leaders are applauded for squeezing more out of fewer people. It's capitalism in its most destructive form, unsustainable and unconcerned with the wreckage it leaves behind. Eventually, people stop caring, quiet quitting, rage applying, ghosting job offers. It's not laziness. It's a backlash. It's a cry from workers who've been squeezed to the point of silence, finally realizing they owe no loyalty to a machine that sees them as disposable. And the worst part? Even when someone leaves, the system rarely fixes itself. Instead, the remaining workers absorb the fallout. You're told to rally, to pull together, to get creative with coverage. No extra resources, no plan, just hope and caffeine. It doesn't have to be this way. There is a path forward, but it starts with truth, with naming the problem, with refusing to smile through it, with holding leadership accountable, and rejecting the narrative that struggle equals strength. Real strength is demanding what you deserve. Real teamwork is refusing to let burnout be the baseline. Real leadership is creating systems that don't need heroes to function. You were hired to do one job, and that's exactly what you should be doing. Anything else, that's their failure, not yours.